welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau. Today, we got somebody for you today. But first, listen, guys, I want to talk to you about some stuff. I want to tell you, I've done some math. I think I got it down to 47% of you guys that are watching every single week do not have the subscribe button hit. Please do that. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell to get notifications and let you know what's going on. Also, the newsletter is coming out 4/1 of 2026. Make sure you go on the website, the RTOshowpodcast.com. Click that thing there, put your information in, let me know that you want a newsletter. I'll make sure I send it out to you. And don't forget, buy some swag. Listen, today I'm wearing the red shirt that I got from Vox. That's Remember Everybody Deployed. Also, I want to give a shout out to my guys, Dave Deep, Ray Muncie. Dave Deep runs the Wake for Warriors, and Ray Muncie runs the Buddies down in Georgia. He also helps with the Wake for Warriors. These guys are doing amazing stuff. If you want to, go on the website, go to that link on the Wake for Warriors, and please donate. They need your support. And what I'm going to say is, I know now is hard. I really do. I know that nowadays money is tight, but it's even harder for those vets. This is a great cause. Give anything you can, and if you can, at least just send them a letter and say, hey, we love you guys. Send them an email. Show some support. Go on their Facebook. We appreciate it. But let's get down to business. I am with somebody from RNR Tire Express today, and fascinating backstory, fascinating story, period, because he's doing something great. Now, I've got Jason Chuey on from RNR Tire Express, and listen, Jason, been dying to talk to you. You've got a lot going on, especially behind you, man. You've got the setup over there. I feel like I should be where you are. You know what I mean? We need to be talking over there. One of these, we're going to do like a personal interview in the man cave. But Jason, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Pete?
I am excellent. Listen, I was doing some research here. I'm going on the backstory, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, you've been everywhere and everything for the wheel and tire side, and you've done quite a bit. Now, there is a story to be told from where you've gone to where you are now, because you started in a completely different setup and you've come to rent to own. You're really taking on a different role where you're this
yes,
really important guy, just over shop and really kind of telling people how to get it done, which is super important. I really love it. Give me a little bit about yourself though, Jason. How you doing today? What's going on in the man cave of all in North Carolina?
Yeah, that's exactly about it. Doing good. Just got back from a long road trip. Visited a couple stores in Georgia, back in South Carolina, and then came back home yesterday and right back at it. Already got phone calls coming in while I'm on here, so it's never ends. It's always something.
Guys, give me 60 minutes. Give me 60 minutes. Give it a pause. God. But, you know, it's one of those things that when you take on these roles, especially when you have so many stores, and you guys are 24 stores, is it right now?
24, 25 in about 3 weeks, and 26 probably in about 2 months.
That is amazing. I will tell you guys, this R&R franchise right now, killing it, making some serious revenue, doing some really good things, and trying out some new positions such as your own, where Jason's going around and really handling some business, showing a lot of what he's learned, his experience, and getting these shop techs up to, listen, doing an amazing job, but they're just following his lead to be able to do it even better. And that's why they're growing. And I love these ideas. I want to talk to you a little bit. So before all this started, 1996, we're in Sears, back when Sears used to be a thing. You remember that, Anthony? You remember the Sears Auto Center was something, man?
I miss that place.
Right?
Yeah.
It used to be something. So back then, you get started ASC certified. Tell me a little bit, like, why does that certification matter? Because I know that coming from the traditional side, we don't have any certifications like that. So what's an ASE certified technician different between somebody who's just in the shop?
So it's changed a little bit over the years. When I was 17 years old and, when I started with Sears, I was still taking tech school. So I was learning stuff, doing tires, really more hands-on, kind of what we've brought in today, but more hands-on learning from some of the older techs while I was in there. And that's what gave me the direction on where I wanted to go. But back then, and you talking 96, 97, 98, ASEs was the thing. If you had the certifications, much easier to get a job as a technician. Dealerships were looking for it. It was just a big plus. Very hard test. It's not for the weak at heart, that's for sure. It's kind of hard to explain, but the ASCs are written by guys behind the counter, not as much as guys in the field. So the answers they're looking for is not what we would typically do in the repair facility. But yeah, I've literally, just like most of our guys in our company that come from the shop, they started in the shop spot as a tire tech and just move your way up and learn more as you go.
Right.
And that's where this position has kind of grown now, is where I'm that older guy now that's bringing down any kind of knowledge into the younger group, and hopefully it's sticking to them. But
Well,
yeah, I've been through them.
when I see 96, to me, that was not that long ago. I'd say a couple
No.
years ago. That's showing our age. But now that we come into it, man, that's 30 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
That was 30 years ago. So we got a young and spry Jason handling some business as an ASE certified technician. You also done roles in Tire Kingdom and Goodyear. So it wasn't just in one spot. You've had the ability to kind of go around and really see that. What is the difference between those real quick? Like, what's the difference between like a Tire Kingdom and a Goodyear and a Sears Auto Center? I mean, is there a really big difference?
It is when it comes to what we do now and what I've seen from the retail side of things to where we're on the RTO side and with the customer service side of it. A lot of those big box stores do not take the customers in mind as much. That I learned very quickly. And most of those places, I didn't work as a technician there. I'd already been put through the position of when I became a sales manager, then I became a service manager at that time, ran the shop and so forth. But you tend to see things a little differently between how they treat their customers, how they treat their employees. When you're with these big box companies, you're a number to them. There's no personalization with it at all. And that's the one nice thing now growing up through that, kind of being just like a parent. You learn things from your parents. I learned things from past companies, and we try to not go that route now. So now it's knowing our people. I like to go to my stores and know everybody's name. It's a good feeling to see that we kind of changed that, especially coming here. But yeah, I mean, it's the experience that you learn from. I'll never take it back. I'm glad I did it. But yeah, it's biggest thing is customer service and how they treat their employees. Business wise, the business doesn't really change, but having someone over you that don't know you at all and expects you to do stuff and turn out numbers but don't know how to communicate with you either. So it definitely, there's a big difference between that and where we're at now.
Well, I see these changes happening, right? Because right now RNR Tire Express is over 200 stores,
Yes, sir.
And talk to me a little bit about your franchise, because although you're RNR you're RNR franchisee, you have your own company. What's the name of that company, and who are some of the guys that help you get this going? And then who are some of the guys that actually own the business and kind of get you guys from 24 to 26 stores and beyond?
Yeah, so it's Rims USA LLC. Tony Raffo was the owner, just recently passed away, which was a big thing. It was definitely a shock from us. Myself being here going on 17 years, Ken Mashburn, Chris Raffo, those are our two owners, regionals. Scott Gregory, district managers play a big part in it too. John Clark was basically my mentor who brought me into the company 17 years ago. Greg Miller, Reggie Gambrell. I mean, the list goes on and on with the team that we got built here. I mean, it's solid. And you met some the other night. You guys were up here.
I did. I had the chance to go up do some DX3 leadership with them, and man, I went William Naylor and you and a couple of other guys.
Yes, William John Smith. Yes, sir.
Just some great people, man. I loved it. So we go in there. You guys got to understand this. We're going to Rims, and as we go in, there is an entire section already dedicated to learning. Like, it is a huge, huge area. We're fitting 30 people, and we're probably gonna have to fit some more now that they got some growth. So we got to worry about that. I guess you guys expand on those walls. But it was great. I mean, they have the setup. You have the slides. You have the ability to play video. You have the ability to sit everybody down in this classroom setting. But really, it's more about the learning and being, one-on-one and kind of just getting that knowledge from point A to point B in a good environment. And I loved it. I loved it because, and I'm not giving, shade to anybody, but I've been to places where that's just not as much of a priority as getting the revenue and making it happen. But I believe that part of the success that Rims has is focusing that dedication on how do I get my guys to learn exactly what we need to do, exactly how they need to do it, so that the customer not only feels better about coming back and spending their revenue every single week, every single month, but then when they pay out or they're done with their transaction, to come back later, not only with them or the referrals that they have or just their family members, right? I mean, most of the time, I think there's some things that out there say 60, 70% of our business that comes in is from the business we already have. Right. So those 100%. Referrals are coming in, and it's really, really important. So, 2 out of 3 people are coming back because somebody told them, hey, I had a great, this thing happened. It was great. Jason took care of me, or whoever it was took care of me. You should probably go over there, which I think is a great thing. And I want to get into some of the differences between what you're doing at R&R and what you've seen in those big box retailers, because I would have never guessed starting out here. You have some pretty heavy names right here. And then you spend more time out of the last 30 years at RNR Tire Express with rims than you did in those big boxes, right? So 17 years out of the 30 years that we're talking about, I mean, 31 if you want to count 2026, but I mean, it's just one of those things like that's a big change. That's a big difference. And you've done well here. Not only have you come here, but you've succeeded. But we'll get into that right now. But like, so you are the corporate service manager and trainer for rims. That was something new.
This is a brand new position. I've kind of been doing it before the position was made 100%. When I was managing the store, I was doing a lot of traveling, which obviously stressed my assistant managers and stuff out. But it was a good prep course for them. They kind of knew what to look for. But at first, when I first primarily did it, I was basically just training on balancing, alignments, our typical day in, day out stuff. As it's grown now, we've put service managers into play, which is the first in at least our franchise. I don't know what the other ones are doing, but we basically have assistant managers, and now service managers who completely run the shop flow, selling the product to the customer, explaining everything to the customer. And it's kind of, and if you ask them what's kind of the difference between the retail and this is the part that retail actually is a good thing. This is that management side that we never got into, that retail's had forever. But the difference is in our motto, to serve, not just service, and we try to bend over backwards for our customers. We try to do everything we can. And that's biggest thing from coming from the retail side is, like I said earlier, the customer service part of it. Just like his employees being a number, those customers are a number to them. Here it's not. Here we take it personal. We try to do anything we can to take care of the customer. A big thing a lot of people don't look at anymore is, we could treat a customer 100% good. They're likely to tell one or two people. You treat a customer bad, they're going to tell 20 to 30 people. Yeah. And it's something people still don't realize, and our retention and our referral programs and the amount of customers that bring their families. I couldn't tell you. Obviously, being here 17 years, you could get an idea, but I remember I have customers that had their kids coming in when they were little kids at one time to where they're grown adults now, and they're coming and get stuff from us.
Jason, you're making me feel aged right now, man. You're making me feel aged right now.
I mean, but that's what makes it. That's what it's so satisfying about the position, is to be able to see these customers come back, seeing their family members come in, and the constant just flow of it, just returning back and forth. A lot of these customers, if not all of them, are considered family. I mean, we see them on such a large basis. It's not like I see you once every 7-8 months. I'm seeing you weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, and that's where that relationship comes into play.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this position is going to be definitely something well needed, and it's going to be a big part of the future because it's just another step to take care of it.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the idea because sometimes, you have to, what I hate to say it, but you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? Sometimes you just got to do something new. You've got to get outside of your four walls and say, how do I make this better? And you've got to trailblaze that. I got a question though. You got assistant managers and GMs, which is something that might be pretty normal depending on who you got. Now, the shop manager being something different, is there a level that you get to before you get a shop manager, or is this a permanent position? You say, hey, there's going to be a shop manager no matter how our revenues or how our customers are.
So originally we had talked about it was going to be a revenue or certain customer count. Once we put it into play and we see how well it changed a lot of our outlooks on things and how it worked, we've now turned that corner where now it's going to be fresh. Like Hickory, which is opening in 2 weeks, brand new store, service manager already in play. Johnson City, the next store, will have a service manager in play, and we're trying to fill them up, which I think we have currently. We just hired another one, I believe Thursday. So I believe 17 of our 24 stores now have service managers.
Wow. Okay.
And it's, like anything else, it's added to the bunch, and everybody gripes about it at first, the expense wise, but once again, it's not always about the expense. It's about being able to take care of the customers, what it comes down to.
Hi, I'm Pete Shau. You may know me from the RTO Show Podcast, but today I'm doing something a little bit different. April and Wow Brands have launched a special project to bring the story of our industry to life like never before. they've asked me to sit down with some of the true legends of rent-to-own, capturing their stories, their impact, and their vision for the future. And now, I get to share those conversations with you straight from the legends themselves. All of this leads to something groundbreaking, though. A new book, The Rent-to-Own Revolution, A Definitive History of Advocacy and Consumer Access, written by A-Pro CEO Charles Smitherman and Wildbrand CEO Brian Krast. The book explores the grassroots of RTO, the advocacy that has defined it, and the future that we're building together. Here's where you come in. We're giving away free copies once the book is released. Just head over to the RTORevolution.com and sign up for a chance to receive a copy in early 2026. Don't miss the chance to be among the first to hold this piece of RTO history. That's RTORevolution.com. Check it out and become a part of RTO history. Depending on when this comes out, it might actually not be 2 weeks from the date of this release. When is the date that store will open, or at least within a couple days?
I would probably say, so it was 3 weeks at the beginning of the week, so we're down to 2 weeks now. So you're looking, what, the 14th? Around April 14th, April 13th, somewhere around there.
All right. Sounds good. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be another store to visit. You know, as you're going through, how long do you think it's going to take to get those between the 17 stores and the 24 stores that you have left, right? The 6 stores that are left. What is the transition period of getting a shop manager in those? And then how long do you, I guess it's a 2-part question. When you put somebody in, right, in that shop manager position, how long do you give them to get acclimated before you say, okay, now we're going to start judging the numbers between when we have a fully functional service manager and when we didn't, so that we can compare, is this, you know, and not that it's not something you don't want to do, but like, where is the payoff on this, and are you doing what you need to do?
So the one nice thing, and that's part of the reason I'm in the spot I'm in now, is when we get these new service managers, I go there and spend usually the first 3 or 4 days with them when they start. That way they get on the right track, understand how we're doing things. And like we talked before, hands-on is my biggest thing. I could show everybody videos all day long and tell them what to do. Hands-on is where it is when it comes to getting people prepped and getting things ready. I don't, within a week or two, because the people we're bringing in, we'd rather get somebody, one of our techs that has been with us for a long time, to promote them into that position, because they already know how we work and what we do inspection-wise and looking over vehicles. But we don't have that. It's not always 100% thing that's going to happen. So when we're bringing people in, most of those people have some sort of experience in automotive. If it's the retail side of it, if it was a mechanic at one time that wants to get into management, because I'd rather have somebody that doesn't bring over a whole bunch of bad habits anyways. I'd rather be able to treat them and take care of them from day one and get them on the right track. Yes. So, I mean, time limit, it's hard, because I don't judge anybody on time, because I know sometimes you got to get the respect of your technicians. There's a lot of stuff that comes into play. Personally, I'd probably say within the first month, you should be good after that, especially with the amount of training we're going to give you, and what I'm going to be involved in doing step by step with everything. So I would say within the first month. After that, they should be good on what they know to do and what forecast wise, what we want them to do.
Gotcha. So now that you're in that, at what point, because you did a lot in the prior life of before getting into RNR and RTO and stuff like that, as you got into the RTO side of it, started working for RNR at RIMS, like, what made you decide, you know what, I've done a little bit of everything on this side, I want to do a leadership role on this side? What poised you and the people around you to say, Jason is the guy, that's the guy? I mean, I met you, so I kind of know a little bit, but for, somebody who's listening to this today and they're talking about, I'm in the shop and I kind of want to move up ahead too. There are people out there who are putting these shop managers, and that does give me an idea that I have somewhere to go. What made you decide, I'm in the shop, I want to go leadership, and what advantages do you think that they need to start learning now to make them ready for that change?
Yeah. Well, personally for me, it was about going back again, making us feel old, but about 20 years ago, I was still turning wrenches. I was in the shop, but a lot of my background, my family owned a restaurant, so I was always very customer service oriented. My family was very yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, always very straight on with that. And at the time, my manager, when I was still turning wrenches, he seen me connecting with customers. When customers would come back behind the bays and start asking questions about their car, he seen how I interacted with them. And he really didn't give me much of a choice. He said, you know what, we're taking you out of the shop, we're putting you up at the sales counter. So that was my introduction into sales. So that was about how I learned
you're
that.
You're going to get promotion whether you like it or not.
So, but it fell into place. I'm a talkative person. I enjoy helping people. I love training. I love teaching people. And even in a sales point, you're teaching you're teaching a customer in all reality when you come to them and you're explaining issues that are done or issues that are going on with their vehicle and stuff like that. The education part is huge, even when it comes down to tires. The simplest time educating a customer about a DOT number, having them understand the date codes and stuff on DOTs and the conditions of their tires, what causes it. It's still that same teaching aspect. It's not just sales. But that's where that started. And when I originally came to rims, I came in as a technician. I was basically burnt out of management at the time, working for retail. I took 6 months off, went up in the mountains, kind of stayed away from everything, and decided, now it's time to look for something. And R&R at the time was looking for a tire tech, and started there, to say the least. Lasted about 2 months, and then went into sales again, account management, assistant manager, and management. Now here, it's when you got it, sometimes you got it, and you can't run from it. It's going to catch you. I mean, it's just one of those things.
That's when he grew the beard. He went into the mountains and grew the beard, and it never left. He was just foraging for food, and that's what happened. No, it's awesome.
The baby face, man. The baby face back in the day.
Right? I need to grow a beard too. I'm getting a little older. So let me ask you a question. So like when you're in the big box and you see all this, and then you see an ad for something like R&R, you see a tire tech, you want to make a cool, transition. How much of that experience do you pull with you? Like, I see rims right now, and training seems to be such a huge aspect of the ability to be profitable and be, really to expand, which is really huge, especially nowadays, because there's some businesses that are just going through it, and you guys are doing very, very well. How much of what you learned and then those experiences, how much did that come with you so that you can, kind of help this situation? Or was it like these guys are doing it just all wrong? Rims is a completely different situation, or was there a pull through?
It does. A lot of it comes with me. I mean, that's what built me as what I am now when it comes to that, when it comes to my job and everything. The good with the bad, you just tend to end up trimming off the bad stuff and you try to put it forward. And when we're out there hiring people, truthfully, I think the automotive side of it is the hardest part to get managers to come over to something different because they don't realize it. Kind of a little bit off subject, but when a retail manager, they pay extremely high salaries, but they own you. When I was a manager, I missed a lot of my son's life because I would literally go into work in the morning when he was sleeping, and I wouldn't come back until at night when he was in bed. And I was working 70, 75 hours a week. Nice money, good money and all that, but you don't realize that. And even now to this day, to try to get some of those guys to come over to us and explaining the benefits, having the family time, the balancing of family and work, it's always sometimes just too much driven by that money, and it's hard to break that. But a lot of it, yes. I mean, when I go and talk to techs, I explain to them, I've been there, done that. And that's what gets a lot of people is they realize there's a chance for more, that you're not just stuck in a particular position, and that back end, those 30 years of experience and understanding what it's like on the other side, I love what I do now. Even when I came in RTO, I had no clue. I didn't know what it was. It was all new to me. To me, it was just another shop job. It was me getting back in the shop. And then as I learned it, once again, mentors, people teaching you and just learning everything, and you love it. And then especially when you work with the group that we do, the care they give you towards their family and showing the respect to that level is huge. And that's the biggest thing I say, Brent, is trying to explain from the retail side to this side, the difference in that, and it's a big thing. It's a big part of life now.
When did it hit you? When you came over to rent to own and you're in the tire shop, you're seeing tires, you're seeing patches, right? That's pretty much the same. When did it hit you that the RTO transaction is a different transaction than the retail transaction, or what you really got yourself into?
When I became an account manager. That was, it don't matter how nice I am or how good I am on the phone, boy. That is where you learn the deep side of RTO on the account manager side.
Right.
And what's funny is when I was running the stores, anytime my account managers, they knew not to come to me with any kind of questions about accounts because they knew what the answer was going to be. Give them what they want. Just take care of it. But it was good because that taught my account managers the proper way to run the account side of it. But yeah, that was where the RTO really got me, was when I went into the account department. And it definitely takes a special person to be an account manager. 100%. That's a whole different side. But that's where it hit me hard. That's where I ran into the brick wall and figured a way of climbing over it.
We know on the traditional side and on the furniture side, it's really hard because sometimes, like you said, you don't have that bench and you have to hire and you make these things. And one of the things that I've always noticed is that if a GM comes into the role, it doesn't matter how much sales experience, doesn't matter how much floor experience, doesn't matter how much they've done inventory wise and they get a shipment. If you haven't done account management, you will fail. And it's because they don't 100%. Understand the business, right? So it's like, you want to be a GM? Great. You're going to sit in accounts for 3 months. You have to learn it from beginning to end. You have to be able to open a route. You have to be able to close a route. And now, mind you, there's things that happen in between, right? There's training, there's other things. But like, if you can't open and close a route and really understand where your customers are coming from, really have those deep conversations, if you're not on the road knocking on doors and just really having that one-on-one relationship, if you can't build that, you really just can't be a GM. Because it's not that we're trying to keep it from you, but we need to put that little time frame off until you really get it, because it is different. RTO is a completely different transaction. So I got to ask, because you're doing all this, you get the beard and, you're up in the mountains. Well, then when you saw that ad at RNR, did you realize that, as you saw it, did they say it was like anything to do with, the RTO side, or was it just, hey, this is a tire technician, I'm going to go do that, and then you got it later?
That's what it was. It was just a tire technician spot. And once again, this is the mindset of me. I was burnt out of retail, and that's what it'd do to you. I mean, it literally burnt me down to nothing. And then coming in and just wanting to get back in the shop because that's where I came from. That was my life. I didn't care about the money. I famously tell everybody I started here with this company at $8.50 an hour. That was where I started at, and worked my way up. But when that ad comes out, and I think that goes for a lot of the techs now. When they see the ad, they don't know what the back end of the company is. Now, I do explain it to them. I tell them that when we get involved, when they come in for interviews, I do tell them that, I was never told that. I just knew it was a tire spot.
Right.
But yeah, the ads wise are just presenting just as another service shop. And talking about the furniture side of it and stuff. And that was the hardest thing. I think with what we do, the best combination we could have is one of those old school RTO guys and a tech guy working together as either assistant manager and manager, or manager and assistant, one of the two. Because like you said, having that idea of how things work, even though coming from the RTO side of it and the furniture side, but you have no clue about the automotive side.
Right.
Same aspect. If you don't know automotive, you're not going to succeed. You're going to fail. So it kind of goes hand in hand with it. And something I don't think we talked about at one time, but I don't know if any of the other franchises have it, but we have an MIT program, a manager and training program, to where we bring other people in, and before they get into the management side, either assistant manager or manager, they go through shop training, account training, sales, admin. So it's not just instant promotion. You're getting in here. We put you go through the ringer. You're going out in the shop with me for 3 weeks. You're going to learn just as much work as they do out there with the tire guys. You're going to be doing it. You're going to learn it.
Anthony, you can change some tires, right?
You got to learn today.
You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, that's just one of those things. But that's where, like you said, the training is key to success anymore. You have to understand it. And giving everybody all the tools to do it is a big thing. And and I love it. I love it.
When you, well, I could tell you invested in that. I could tell. When you're talking about the technical side, when I say the technical side on the car side, let me phrase it that way. We're talking about the automotive car side. What is the difference for some of the people who are listening who don't know what RNR Tire Express does versus a Sears or versus a Tire Kingdom? What is the difference when you come into an R&R Tire Express? What can you expect versus going to one of those other retailers? And then why does that make it easier, better, and more efficient for a rent-owned customer?
The biggest difference you're going to see is the customer service side. Once again, going back to what we originally talked about. The packages we give all our customers, the lifetime rotation balancing, flat repairs, life of the tire alignments. None of the big box stores, these retailers aren't doing that. You could buy it, you could pay for it, but we give it to them as part of our package that we do. The year of roadside assistance. I mean, there's so many things that we just included. And the biggest thing is every time you come in our store, you're going to get a smile. You're going to be represented. I mean, it's hard to explain until you see it yourself. And, if we could have everybody walk into a store with a regular plain shirt and see how they're treated at one of our stores compared to going to one of these big box stores and walking in, being ignored, hey, how are you doing today? Right when you walk in, just that's the difference. And that's where the key part of it is. Once again, it doesn't always come to money, the price wise and stuff. That service is what's going to keep our customers. No matter what we do, that's the key part. And that's the difference.
Well, that's absolutely, I love the idea because how do you set yourself apart? What's the customers? The customer, you ask the customer, and if they're giving enough 5-star reviews, that's my difference.
Yeah.
But so what does a Tire Express mean versus a full service center? Because if you went to, RNR Tire Express, I'm not getting a transmission change, right? There is a big difference between what we do here at RNR Tire Express versus a full service. So where does it stop with the Tire Express versus a full service where they can almost get everything done?
And, and that's kind of where the stores are going now. Now, obviously, before it was just wheels and tires. Now we've gotten into passenger tires. Now we get into lift. I mean, that's the service side of it. Yes, there's things that we're not going to do. We're not doing fluid changes. We're not doing engine rebuilds. We're not doing tune-ups, stuff like that. But the biggest service intervals are your tires, your rotations, your alignments have to get done. And with us now up in some of our services to where we're doing the brake repair, front end repair, the lift kits, lowering kits, all the extra stuff is because those customers is a constant. They always are going to need this service. The tune-ups, you're going to see somebody once every 70,000 miles for a tune-up. Oil changes, a little bit more consistent, but there's a lot of hazardous material stuff, and there's a lot more to come into play in that, which we just, as much as I'd say we'd like to do it, it's a lot, and I don't think we'll get to that point yet, at least not right now. But yeah, the biggest thing is we're going to take care of the biggest thing you're on the road with. The tires, as much as people don't realize, that tire is the most important part of your car. That tire goes bad while you're driving it down the road at 70 miles an hour, it could be a huge thing. It's a lot of stuff that can happen. An engine goes bad, you're going to stop. This is to keep you and your family safe. We're doing everything you need to be safe, and we're always going to be there for you. It's service with a smile, it costs, everything is just, it's to take care of, once again, I know I said it, taking care of the customer and giving them that option where they're not having to bounce back and forth all these different places to get things done. And truthfully, that's where I think this became the biggest thing. Is I was in my position as a manager to have to tell my customer to go to another location, another store, a competitor to get something done because we couldn't do it for them. So backtracking, that's probably the biggest thing. I don't want to have to send people other different places. I want to be able to take care of everything they need on that one stop. They come in for their tires. We're fixing their front end. Any kind of brake issues they got, we're taking care of all that instead of sending them to a million different places. And that's kind of what set everything apart. And that's where the growth and everything's coming from, is that. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to differentiate. We may want to do more in the future, but where we're at right now, it's starting to get to that point to where it's the one-stop shop. We're taking care of our customers. We're not sending them to different places. We're not having to worry about them going somewhere and having issues. We're getting everything taken care of on the spot. And then our safety program that we do inspection-wise and making sure that the cars are safe for the customer is huge. I promise you that's more than anybody else is doing. Maybe a dealership might be doing it a little bit better, but yeah, we do a very good job at it.
So if somebody goes into account management, because, I agree with you 100%. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's when you start learning RTO and how the flexible payment options work. If somebody's coming in, do they have the ability to go directly into the account management position, or is it key that they learn account management from automotive first. You got to go and do the tire. You've got to go learn, how it is to put this on, take this off, and what you have to do before you can go into account management? Or do you have a program where you're like, hey, we can kind of teach both at the same time so you can be in account management? Like, how does that work?
So we actually do have certain account managers do go in the shop for training. Our running position, our account runner tends to have to go into the shop for 2 or 3 weeks to learn everything that comes to that. A regular account manager, not so much, other than the scheduling side and understand the repetition of when the customers come in. Now, personally, once again, kind of something to touch back on, I would rather have somebody 100% green and teach them and train them the right way. Have we had account managers from other companies come in? 100%. Yes, it happens. But you being in the business and knowing, sometimes habits come with those, and it's not habits that we want at our locations. That's not how we treat customers. And knowing accounts can get rough. That's exactly why I said I hit a brick wall, because I'm not that rough guy. I'm not the one to sit here and throw the dabs over the phone. I want to take care of you, but truthfully, if I had somebody that just wanted to get a job and wants to learn, and I explained to them what that particular position includes or details, and they said they want to take a chance at it, I'd 100% give them a chance. Because like I said, we could teach them and train them from day one on the way we want to take care of our customers and how we want the accounts are handled. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot of guys come in from the furniture side. I've seen a lot of guys come in for different companies, and everybody has a different way of doing things, and what's weird is you wouldn't think that would be. You would think everybody has the same basic steps when it comes to the collections and accounts, but that's far from it. But yeah, we could take anybody and I could train them for any position in that store, just because of how we do our training program, how we scrub you down. It's almost like being in the Marine Corps or in the Army. We break you down and we build you back up. And, it's about the easiest way I could explain it. But yeah, I mean, anybody could do the job. With the way we have the processes and the procedures we have in play with our training and hands-on abilities, I could put anybody in there and do it.
So now that you're in this new position, you have the ability to kind of see everybody, talk to everybody, train everybody. How many weeks are you on the road a year? How much are you traveling? You getting those frequent flyer and Hilton points? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, the last my wife ain't happy about it, but the last the last month and a half, I've been gone pretty much about a month of it. So it's what was signed up for. I knew what I was getting into, and it's something I love doing. To have that ability, like I said, coming from the retail side, not having anybody do that to myself, no one knew me. The training programs I was in when I was going through it was not like that. It was not the hands-on. It was here, look in a book or do a pre-test and then take the test and learn it. Being able to go and help these guys, knowing they have families, they have kids, everything is makes me very happy and proud of what I'm doing. And it's just going to keep getting better. The more experience we bring into these stores, even if it's not just on the service side of it, from sales, accounts, because I could put any point I want in there and help somebody, but it's on the road a lot, but it's worth it 100%. I wouldn't like to be doing anything different than I'm doing right now, because it's what I'm built for.
Jason, I got a question. Would you be in a different spot right now if in your early years somebody like you would have been able to step in and said, don't worry about reading the book, let me show you, let me do some hands-on, let me get behind you, and really this is how it gets done, away from the pages of the book and the videos and the screen? Would you be in a different position right now if you had a you 30 years ago?
Probably, because I would have learned real quick where the responsibility could be from the training side of things, because I don't know direction wise, because that's a tough one to say exactly where I'd gone. Maybe I would have been in management a lot faster. I would have probably been in the management a little bit quicker at that point. But the one nice thing I could say, I've had enough jobs that I could count on one hand through my life. I'm not a jumper on things and stuff like that. If anything, it would have sped me up into management. I maybe would have been turning wrenches for a couple less years. But, I wish there was another me back in the day, and actually talking to Ken yesterday, he made a thing. He said, always, how do you put it? Surround yourself with people smarter than you, is what he said. And, and you think of that and you're like, well, I don't want, well, no, I mean, you're right. How it comes across, because you're always having someone that has a little bit more knowledge is just going to teach you, and me learning something new every day, I'm down for. That's 100% what I like to do. But yeah, he made that comment, and it took a little while first to get it. And I'm like, what? In all reality, you're 100% true. You're not looking. You can't have that worry about they're better than me. They're going to take my job, but they're going to educate me more. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. I wish we could go back and have somebody that was more hands on. I wish that would have been the way the field was back in the day. It's just it wasn't. It's just one of those things that's coming around now.
Yeah. Well, I can always tell you, one of the mentors that I have would always say this to me. We probably have 3 or 4 conversations a week, and every once in a while I would hear this, show me their 5 closest friends or colleagues and I'll paint you a picture. I don't have to see that person. I'll just paint you a picture. And it's like, I really need to figure out if they're painting the Mona Lisa or if they're painting my daughter's school picture. She showed me. I love you, baby. But it's just one of those things. Like it really does make a difference, and who you surround yourself with is going to determine how far you go, because that knowledge and you're bouncing things off of them and they're bouncing things off of you, and you being able to learn from somebody's experience or knowledge. Or, hey, I got knocked down. This is probably not a direction you want to go. How do you learn from this? And take that. So talking about that. Walk us through your role. You have a day-to-day role. Walk us through like a week of what it's like to be in Jason's shoes in this new position.
Well, I mean, first off, you got the road time, obviously. I mean, I'm an early guy. I probably get to stores a lot earlier than some of the managers do. I'm on the road early, get there. Usually it's a lot of the service reports, which I showed you some of that. I keep track of how the stores are doing on their service, month to date, year to date, so forth. Updating any kind of procedures we're doing. We're using some new programs that a lot of people never used in the automotive field for customer tracking and stuff like that. So going through that training, and then that's most of the morning. Afternoon is going to be in the shop. That's where it is. I mean, it's going through brake procedures, the safety procedures, proper balancing techniques, alignments. I mean, it's almost like being a tech again, but now I ain't getting dirty. Now I get to watch people get dirty. But it's still, the hands-on part, like I said, I could give anybody a book and do it, but sitting there and explain it to them step by step and then have them do it again and again, the repetitiveness is what gets it in our head. This is how we're going to do it. And be able to do that and know for a fact that when I leave that store, the guys or gals are certified. They're going to get a pay increase because now they're certified on what they're doing, and now they can go full at it and start giving that service to the customer. And it's satisfying to have that feeling that you've made a difference in somebody's life when it comes to that. Then reports and more stuff. I mean, it's a go around, man. And then the next day, wherever store it's at is it's a constant same on. A lot of phone calls, which I have no problem with. FaceTime, I'm really good at. I've had texts, I've had DMs call me with issues, just to be able to get on FaceTime and help them walking through them and get them fixed. But it's constant and it's busy all the time. But like I said, wouldn't have it any other way. It's what I signed up for.
Well, you're in it now, baby. You're in it now.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
So what factors go into, let's say, and we can keep it weekly, but what factors go into you deciding, okay, I need to be here, here, and here next week versus over there, right? What factors come into play? Because, sometimes when it's in sales, you can say, hey, they're lacking in sales. Hey, they're, we have a customer complaint. We need to be over there. But what do you have that determines, hey, this is where I'm going to be the next week and this is why?
So a lot of it, the new hire process, if we get a service manager in, I already know that that's going to be one of that's one of the spots we're going to. That's going to be a little bit more in detail when it comes to the service manager, going through the ShopMonkey. Same thing with the certifications, because in order to be a service manager, you have to be certified just like the techs. So they're going to come in and they're going to go out there. They're going to turn the wrenches. They're going to be able to do the hands-on for when I'm not there. If I can't get a hold of that, service manager is going to be able to train and make sure they're getting it done properly. The techs, they have to be in the position for a certain amount of time before we certify them. They got to prove a little bit of what they're doing. We have a couple different tiers. We have L1, which is going to be our basic tire tech, doing rotate balances and tires. L2s is same as the L1, but is capable of doing alignments on their own, complete front and rear without having to be watched over. L3s, additional to the L2s, is brake certified. Then we have L4s, which is lift kit certified, where they could do the front end work in lift kits. And we now got it to an L5, which is everything plus on top of that. If they choose to get an ASE certification, we give them additional. I've actually done pre-tests with ASE. I've gone through about 250, 300 questions and produced a little pre-test for all of our guys to go through to prep them for that also. Because the ASE tests haven't changed much from when I took them. If anything, they've gotten a little bit more difficult when it comes to that, because you have to be really on the technical side. But a lot of it just depends on the placement and where they're at. And then when I do them, I tend to try to knock out 2 or 3 stores in the area I'm at. I don't want to, because we cover such a large area. I just can't be traveling to Tennessee and then all the way back to the coast in Savannah. I kind of got to group the stores where I'm going to be at, where I'm needed at the most. But that's the hiring part, and then what level they're at is where it goes from.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Shau here from the RTO Show Podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing. And let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too. You said something there. I mean, you got training, you got levels, you got ASE. There's a level 5. I feel like I should graduate to a level 5 right now. I need to, spend more time. But so who trains the trainer as you're going through this? I know that they don't do things that they did, 30 years ago. Things have elevated. They get better. Tires get better. Compounds get better. Techniques get better. Wheels are different, right? Wheels were way different now than they were back then. They're all pretty much aluminum now, and not cars now. They don't have hubcaps anymore. I mean, there might be one that has them, but I mean, everybody has the solid rim now. They're getting a little bit larger. Average is now 17-inch, 18-inch. I think my car's got like 19. I was like, oh my God, really? Seriously? Trying to sell me a tire there. I have to come to you guys. But who trains the trainer? Who takes care of you, and how often do you do that so that you can pass that down to your guys and say, because they're gonna want to know. I mean, obviously, my main corporate trainer's got to be on the level. He's got to be, certified in just about everything that he's going to teach me. How do you get that, and how long does that last before you have to redo it?
So same aspect as what we talked about earlier, having the smart people around you. I learn every day. There's technicians that know things that I may not know. The processes from when I was doing them hasn't changed. The technology has. So the practices we go along with, we're just making them safer for the consumer. We're just making them safer for the shop. Less responsibility falls on them. But like I said, there's little things that I learn too on an everyday basis. There's a new thing that I have to learn myself. I do take my own ASEs. I keep myself up on an ASE certification. I don't do all of them anymore. I primarily stick to the suspension, brakes, and now they have a service consultant ASE, believe it or not, that the service manager, which I'm thinking about, might be our next step, is get our guys certified, ASE certified in the service side of it. The only way really to learn more is if we got into the more technology side of things when it comes to the more electric cars and stuff like that, which a lot of it now, especially with the electric cars and stuff, the rear parking assist on the brake services and stuff, that's all new to me, but it's opening up a book or getting on a computer and looking it up and learning it. And the repetitiveness of doing that is where it just sticks to you. Now, if I could get me another person that's similar to what I do, it'd obviously make life easier. But we got to find somebody that's willing to do it because, once again, being away from home, all that comes into play. Not everybody wants to do that. But I self-teach a lot. There's always going to be some kind of new documentation. There's something to learn from it. But the biggest thing is the process hasn't really changed. So it's not really learning that, other than some shortcuts on things to make it go a little faster, make it a little lot easier. But every day is a new learn. I mean, it's just, there's always going to be something new to catch, something to learn. And it's just one of those things sometimes you got to look in the mirror and go, okay, I need to do this myself. I can't wait for somebody to bring it. But that's where it comes down, the self-learning side of it.
You mentioned something that I didn't really think about that. I mean, going from 24 to 26 stores, and eventually I know that you guys are going to get more. Is there going to be a time where, like, Jason, you can't handle all the stores by yourself, or you're going to be out 52 weeks a year? Where does that divide line where they come in and say, Jason, you're going to have to train somebody to kind of do what you do and maybe take over 10, 13 stores so you can split it in half and have some time at home? Because that is important, and especially, some of the guys that when I went to North Carolina, I saw them, they're very family oriented, very smart guys, and they understand how it is to have a home life just like it is to be, dead on with your business. Is there a part, have you guys even talked about that yet, considering how new this is?
It was talked about at the beginning. They're actually very concerned about that. And just like you said, it is a family business. It is family oriented. Our business and family life is a good mix. The problem is with it is for how important this position is, the safety wise for the customers. We don't want to just have anybody go into it. Someone's got to be prepared for it and willing to do it also. With the amount of stores we had to make the decision a little faster than I think they wanted to. But just on the safety side of it, it's so huge. And like I said, it's got to be the right people. We can't just have someone going around and telling somebody to do something, but not actually getting into that part with them, the hands-on situation to make sure it's getting done properly. Because anybody could do that, The one thing I could say with pride is, with this business, the biggest safety thing is, like we talked about, is the tires and wheel side of it. We started this in January. And the one thing I'm happy to say, we're into the 4th month and no wheel off situations, no customer damage, nothing.
Great.
I mean, it's practically been eliminated, knocking on the wood, but they always say, can I make a carbon copy of myself? That's across the board. Managers say it all the time. I need another me to do this.
God, I've heard that a million times.
Yeah,
Anthony, can you carbon copy yourself?
I need a clone.
I need one too, man.
But it's 100% that. And yes, it was a concern of theirs, and they still check up on me. They make sure, and that's what I love about this is, the owners, management will always check on you to make sure you're okay. And, that's the biggest thing that, are you okay? You spend enough time? Is this going good? You need anything? It's a constant question because they want to make sure we're happy and we're doing, obviously doing our jobs, but we got to get the right person. Eventually it will. We'll find somebody and we'll split it up or whatever we got to do to make it a little bit easier across the board. But we're not just going to throw anybody in that position. It's just like a manager. We're not just going to throw anybody in a manager's position and run a store and expect to take care of the customers and the business at the same time. We got to have the right combination. But yeah, I foresee it happen.
I love the talk, man. I love, the training and the technical side and saying, hey, we haven't had any issues. We have 0 days. When you say, when's the last problem that we had? It's been 100, 300 days, not yesterday. So I love that. I love how that is. But going back just a hair, as somebody comes in, right, they might not have the RTO experience like you did. You didn't have that RTO experience. You didn't know what it was like. What are some of the if somebody comes in, what attributes do you think benefit them going into this technical road in the shop or as an RTO person in the tire and wheel side and the RNR side? What do you think, coming into the business, what is something that they could already have or have worked on or have experience in that would give them a leg up?
It's a hard question to answer because anytime I'm looking to hire somebody, obviously from the service side, it's the technical knowledge. And not all technology is good because how they were trained at one particular place isn't always the best. They could say they know everything and then come to us and it's a complete opposite. Truthfully, when it's front counter, even accounts, anything like that, I look at the personality, and that's a key part of it. The personality with what the customers see day in and day out and what they hear over the phone is a big key, the ability to communicate with people properly. It's not always about the skill base, especially on the front side of it. Shop's a little different, but on the front side of it, when it comes to sales, account managers, the communication, personality, all plays a big part of it. I like I said before, you give me a guy that's got 20 years experience at one place and you give me somebody that's coming in fresh, I got a better chance of training that guy that comes in fresh with a good attitude, good communication skills, and a hell of a personality against a guy that's a hardened 20-year vet in the business that is just going to come over and I hate to say it, but think they know everything and it's their way or no
Yes.
way. So it's one of those flip questions. Service side, 100%, you got to have a little bit.
We had one of those situations, and we used to call it, when somebody came in and we were doing interviews, we would try to do the interviews on 1 or 2 days a week because, you could spread them out for forever and ever and ever, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that we used to say to the GMs was, if you get them green, make them lean. You know what I mean? Like they can come in and just streamline it, and they don't have all these predisposed, ideas of what they should be doing, or the cursors of, hey, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. But have you done it like us? And that's always a big thing. Talking about that, and I want to read this right because I wrote this down and I wanted to make sure that I asked you the right way. How do you balance speed, quality, and safety in a high volume environment, such as rims under RNR Tire Express?
So what it comes down to is,
Jason, I just want you to know I'm trying to stump you, man. I'm trying to throw you some hard questions. I'm trying to do a couple of hard questions in here.
So so I come from a store, Gastonia. We were over 1,100 customers. We did a ton of service work. We constantly, we have stores now. You got Knoxville and Chattanooga that are 1,700, 1,600 customer stores. Wow. The speed and it's the procedures and policies. I mean, these guys are so in tune with how we do things, and especially from the safety aspect. We talk about speed and safety. ShopMonkey, which is a big part that we came about 2.5 years ago and started doing, the processes that we put in play, the procedures of how the vehicles are looked over, how things get brought to the customer while the guys are still working on it. It's all flow. I mean, I guess that's the best way of talking about it. When it comes to the shop, is especially with the service manager position, they're looking at the tickets that are hanging. They're figuring out what is going to be priority, what's not priority, what could be put off because it's a customer drop off. That's where all this technical side with ShopMonkey comes into play now, because now it's digital. Now we got a big TV, a 52-inch TV out in the shop that is color coded by what is waiting, what the service is. Oh, wow. The guys see it and they can prep themselves as they're working through the day on what needs to be done. And then you got the service manager in there coordinating it. He's the general. He's the one that's making everything move in the right direction. And then obviously the safety procedures. Yeah. There's a lot to go into. There's a lot of moving parts that come into play. So a specific part of it to answer that is not, it's just the whole thing. Everything just works together. It's a well-oiled machine. I guess
the nuance
is the best
of everybody
way
working under one light of sight, and having a shop manager in there and saying this, and this.
And that's where it comes into play. And, that's what sometimes makes the difference from a 500, 600 counts customer store to the 11, 15, 1,700 customer count store, is the ability to have that shop. Because if a customer comes in and is sitting in our store for 2.5 hours to get a set of tires, they're not going to come back. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So that's where the shop flow and everything comes into play, from the front counter to the back. When it comes to closing an agreement, everything is just a constant, well-oiled machine on how it works. Is there hiccups? Yeah, there's always going to be speed bumps. That happens. But as long as we handle it the right way and fix it, but the flow chart, policy, procedure, and how just overall the well-oiled machine. I mean, that's really the easiest way of saying it. It's just we've put everything into play to where it's pretty consistent.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to talk about real quick. I just want to mention, number one, 1,100 customers, and they have stores that great. Guys, if you saw 3 customers a day, 7 days a week, it would still take you an entire year to see every customer. That is amazing. I love the fact that, we have the monitor up in the shop, and you can see that. I love the way that, as things progress, they also progress with it. I will say, and I'm not getting paid by ShopMonkey to say this, but ShopMonkey being integrated with some of the AI and kind of being able to help take that load off on times that we're not there, after hours or early morning, really does seem to help play that role in getting somebody into the store and getting them taken care of as soon as possible. So it's just, it's watching AI get integrated and still being able to take care of the customer with that friendly smile as they walk in, take care of them quickly and get them out safely without having anything go on, still having that thing like, hey, nothing happened. Nobody wheel fall off, no tire blew out for, erroneous means. I love that. I love the MIT program. I love the fact that, we can do whatever we need to do with whatever positions to train, learn, get certified, and get them going as soon as possible. Jason, you've like really been able to kind of highlight some of the things that are going on at Rims that makes you guys one of the best franchisees that RNR has. I'm not going to say the best because I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but you guys are doing an amazing job out there. And if you want to learn, you might want to learn from Jason. He's doing a great job. Coming into the end, I want to shoot some small questions at you and just get how you feel about these things real quick. What changes are you seeing in the tire and wheel segment right now that, you know, is new?
Like what you're talking about, the AI part of it. You know, with I think people getting a little smarter now and or not, I don't want to say smarter, but self-conscious about money-wise, the wheel and tire business has slowed down a little bit, and it's now going kind of geared towards the passenger side. I really don't see any changes other than the AI that's bringing some of the technology that's coming along. Even as simple as going out to the customer's car and checking tread depth. There's machines now, you just put it on the tire and it reads everything for you. I mean, the technology side is growing and is going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Wow.
I love that. Is there anything coming down the pipeline that you guys, as far as dealers, should be looking out for? Something new that's coming down, or maybe something that's you should watch out for as far as, you know, you don't want to get involved in that? And is it electric cars? And I know that's a whole different ball game there, because I know they weigh more, they wear the tire differently, they have different tires because of the weight, the way they stop, the way they go. Like, what is something coming down the pipeline that you see that will cause us to shift or pivot a little bit?
You know, truthfully, the electric car the e-cars are going to be a big part of it. But if, once again, the knowledge, if you know how to do them, if you're trained right the way to work on them, you'll never have a problem with them. A lot of it is lift points on those cars. Yeah, the tires are different. Some of them have sound deafening foam in them. I mean, there's a lot of different things that come into play. But the knowledge of knowing what to look for, the knowledge of working on the cars, that's really what it comes down to. If you're sending one of those cars into a store that has no clue what they're doing, it's going to cost the store.
And I do have a side question, because I just thought about that right now, that these e-cars and these e-trucks that are coming around, they weigh a lot more than your traditional vehicle, right? Your ICE vehicle is, I mean, they literally have an empty bed, but these guys, I mean, the whole undercarriage is full of batteries. Yep. Do you have to have different lifts for these, e-vehicles?
Not different lifts. You have lift pads. There's special pads that, they have special pads that actually you could buy them aftermarket. Some of them come with them for that situation if they get broken down on the side of the road. But what it is, there's a spot in the frame that is a certain size, and then they have a pad that pops into it. It's got a rubber seal, so it's like popping it into place. Then you can put your jack under it and pick it up from those particular positions.
Gotcha.
That eliminates your racks from hitting any kind of batteries.
Oh,
but once again, if you don't have someone that knows that and they just go to pick them up, now you're talking a $30,000-$40,000 damage repair on breaking one of the e-batteries.
Just so you guys know, Jason is selling his position right now. Well, if you don't have somebody who knows, let me tell you got to get a guy from North Carolina who's going to tell you and again, make it happen. I love it. How do you see service expectations evolving in the RTO industry?
Exactly. The route that a lot of our franchises are starting to go now with the service side of it is where it's going to be key. We've adapted, we've all learned, when I first came to RNR here with this franchise, we never had livestock. We started carrying livestock. Alignments was a thing that the RTO in any tire business, when it comes to RTO, never even thought about. Being able to do the alignments for the customers eliminates one more problem. Then we went to the suspension repairs, the brake repair. I mean, everything is just one of those things that just constantly goes and goes. And who knows, in 3 or 4 years, there's probably something else that we're going to end up learning, which the only thing I can say closest that I know is coming is Bluetooth TPMSs. That's going to be the next thing. Yeah, they're going Bluetooth, which is going to change up everything once again. It's going to throw a wrench in a lot of different things because it's a whole different program, but that's going to be the next up and coming thing.
Well, thanks, Jason. Now I have something to look up on Google when I get off this. I'll be looking up Bluetooth TPMS sensors.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, Jason, it's been amazing to have you on the show. You are a breath of fresh air. We do a lot of traditional side, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, guys, but I love learning about things that I don't know about and talking to people that I really haven't had a chance to sit down with. You've done an amazing job. I'm going to tell you, if you guys want to reach out to Jason and ask any Venom questions that listen, between Jordans and Venoms, he's got all the, I'm just looking at all the, the stuff that you have behind you.
I can't see the Jordan Martins in my picture. I guess they're back there hiding in the corner.
Yeah, they're back there on the left over there. But I'm going to tell you guys what, if you guys have any questions for Jason Chuey or anything for the show, reach out, Pete at the RTO Show Podcast.com. Email me, let's talk. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube where you're going to see this. Jason, thank you so much for being on the show. You've been an amazing guest. It's been great to talk to you and see all the stuff that you have going on back there. Guys, I'm going to tell you, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit that button so that you get a notification every time that we put out a new show. And I'm going to tell you guys, as always, go buy some swag on the website and get your collections low to get your sales high. Have a great one.